Okay, the gentlelady from California, Ms. Porter, is now recognized.
Ms. Swear, in 2019, you testified on Representative Cicilline's bill, the assault weapons ban, before Congress. At the 2019 hearing, Representative Jim Jordan asked you if law-abiding people will be less safe to protect themselves if that bill was passed. Do you remember your response?
I have a general idea of what I would have said under that circumstance, but no, I don't remember my specific words.
You said, and I quote, "I think worse than that, sir, you will see millions of otherwise law-abiding citizens become felons overnight."
Yes.
For nothing more than having scary-looking features on firearms.
It's
I was
true.
quite surprised by your answer. You read the bill before you came to Congress to testify against it, yes?
If we are referring to the ban on assault weapons?
Correct.
Yes.
So you knew that the bill would allow any gun owner to maintain possession of any semi-automatic assault weapon that was lawfully possessed before the bill became law.
No, so that is the case under that bill. The problem is
Reclaiming
anytime
my
that is
time.
transferred to anybody
Reclaiming
else,
my time,
that
Madam
now becomes
Chair,
an issue.
would you please instruct the witness that the time belongs to me?
If you don't want to hear an answer to my question, I'm not sure what is being asked.
The gentlelady has reclaimed her time.
So you knew that the bill, you said yes in response to my question, that you knew the bill would allow the gun owner to maintain possession of any semi-automatic assault weapon that was lawfully possessed before the bill becomes law. Ms. Swearer, I respect that we have different opinions on Representative Cicilline's assault weapons law, but we cannot have different facts. We have a duty to debate the merits of proposal. You falsely testified under oath.
Would you like the explanation of
no,
why
I will
I said
not.
that?
I have not yielded, Ms. Swearer.
Suspend.
Madam Chair, if she's going to ask questions, shouldn't she let the witness have time to answer?
The gentleman is not recognized.
You falsely testified under
Madam
oath.
Chair,
I
point
did
of
not.
order. Point of order.
What is the gentleman's point?
I've been
of order?
accused of falsely testifying under oath, and I would like to address it.
The gentlewoman has accused her of perjury. Is she going to hold to that, or are you going to allow the witness to respond to that accusation of criminal conduct?
You have not come forward with a significant point of order. Ms. Porter will continue.
I asked you if that bill was correct, if the bill would allow any gun owner to maintain possession, and you said yes. Yet you testified that the bill would allow people to become felons overnight. Earlier today, you testified that you hoped that this was the last time you testified before Congress. For the sake of our nation and the integrity of this Congress,
I said
I
Congress
do too.
after a mass shooting, trying to figure out how to solve a problem that we are all heavily invested in solving.
Ms. Swearer,
That is
I have not
insulting.
Point of order,
asked a
point of order.
question.
How dare you?
Reclaiming my time. How dare you misstate the law?
How dare you
at
ask questions that you
legislation.
do not even want an answer to?
Ms. Swearer, I'm moving on. I'm a lifelong consumer protection advocate. From 2015 to 2020, there were at least 2,070 unintentional shootings by children. 765 of those children died. A consumer product that causes this much harm to the public would normally be subject to a recall. But federal law prohibits the Consumer Product Safety Commission, the agency responsible for protecting the public from dangerous products, from regulating guns. This is absurd. After one child died using a Peloton treadmill last year, the Consumer Product Safety Commission intervened and recalled the product. But when hundreds of children die using guns, there is no federal response. There is no federal safety standard for guns. Even though 40,000 Americans hurt or kill themselves or other people in hundreds of accidents every year. Instead of regulating guns like any other consumer product, federal law protects gun manufacturers. A teenager can watch a video online and learn how to modify a rifle to make it more deadly. And the gun industry avoids any liability if that teenager uses that modified rifle to fire repeatedly and rapidly at innocent people, even though their products could be designed to prevent unsafe modifications. I want to give an example. In 2001, a 13-year-old boy named Billy accidentally shot his father's handgun and killed his friend Josh. Billy mistakenly thought the gun was unloaded because he had removed the gun's magazine. Josh's family sued the gun manufacturer for failing to warn Billy and other consumers that their product could be fired without a magazine. It's a simple case. It should have been decided by a jury, as is provided under the Constitution. Instead, because of the gun industry's immunity, the gun manufacturer was able to dismiss the case without a trial. If a pharmaceutical company failed to warn customers about the known risks of one of their drugs, they could face thousands of lawsuits. But we allow the gun industry to sell weapons without taking any precautions to protect children and families from fatal accidents. Mr. Suplima, do you think the gun industry would do more to protect children if Congress ended their immunity?
Absolutely.
Would ending the gun industry's immunity put gun manufacturers out of business?
No, it would not.
In the 1990s, lawsuits forced Big Tobacco to pay for the harm they caused by marketing cigarettes. Just last year, Big Pharma agreed to pay $26 billion for communities devastated by opioids.
Madam Chair,
Victims
time
of gun
expired.
violence also deserve their day in court. They deserve justice. I yield back.
The gentlelady's time is expired.
Madam Chair, I have a
Madam-
parliamentary inquiry.
Gentlelady's time
Madam
is
Chair,
expired.
Madam Chair, I have
Gentle-
point of order. Madam Chair, point of order. Again, Ms. Porter accused our witness of perjury. That's a very serious accusation. Accused her of lying before
Madam Chair,
Congress.
the gentleman has not stated a proper
Yeah,
point
I'm
of order.
stating
That is not a proper point of
The point
order.
of order is we just had a member
Gentleman
of
Not a proper
Congress
point of order,
accuse
Madam
a
Chair.
witness of perjury
Cloud.
and didn't give
Madam
that
Chair, the
witness
gentleman
time to
is not
respond.
stating a proper
And it's,
point
you
of
know,
order.
the usual
The
suspect.
gentlelady will
Porter
suspend.
accomplished her
The
goal of
gentlelady
getting her
will
soundbite
suspend. The
on
gentleman from
MSNBC,
Texas, Mr.
but we're here
Cloud,
to debate a
is
serious issue.
recognized. Mr. Cloud, you are now recognized.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you for your efforts on part of our country. And of course, what we're hearing is that there has to be more money appropriated and dire consequences if not allocated. But that begs the question of the stewardship of the current dollars being allocated. Now, and so I personally think, and I think others agree, that physically showing up to work is important. So, Ms. O'Connell, how many days in the last month were you physically in your office?
The vast majority of those days.
Can you give me a number? I mean, it's so frustrating. I've never been able to get a straight answer from one of you as to how many days you are in the office and what is the return to work policy. So just give me, how many days this past week? And if it's 5, I'm pleased. How many days in this last week?
So the HHS has continued its return to work starting in April. We're bringing everybody back
No,
by
how
the
many
end
days
of
have
June.
you personally been in your office this last week?
Multiple days, of course.
That's not hard to remember. It's only 5 days. And if you dissemble, it makes me think that you've not been in the office and you don't want to give me a straight answer. And I'm speaking on behalf of the American people who are paying taxes and a lot of salaries, and they think people aren't showing up to work. How many days in the last 5 were you physically in your office?
We continue to work.
Okay, Dr. Califf, how many days in the last 5 were you physically in your office?
I was down in North Carolina Monday and Tuesday because the 2 18-year-olds that you met at my confirmation
Okay, then
hearing
a week
graduated
ago.
from high
Then
school.
give me 5 days. When there wasn't a family issue, go the previous week.
I 5 every day when I've been in Washington and not on business travel, I go into the office at White Oak.
Okay, I get that. So every day you're in Washington does not mean that that you are here. So are you either doing business travel and part of FDA, or are you but if not, you're physically in your office?
Yes, except for family events like
Dr. Walensky, how many
graduation.
days in the last 5 were you physically in your office?
So I'm not in my office today, but I feel like I'm working on
No,
site.
no, not feel like. How
But I
many
believe I'm
days-
working on site. So I have been I've been traveling. So I've been in my office 2, and I've been traveling for 2. One of them I was, in fact, in your one
So
of
in the
your
last
offices. Yes.
month, do you typically work out of Washington or do you work out of your home in the Northeast?
We're an agency at CDC of people
boy, it's
who
really
do
hard to
on
get
the
a straight
work,
answer.
on the job work. And in fact, some of our work is in your state when
I
you
get
ask us
that.
to deploy.
I get that. But let me read something from Elon Musk, who's asking Tesla workers to go back to 40 hours a week. The more senior you are, the more visible you must be. That's why I lived in the factory. There's companies that don't require this. When was the last time they shipped a great product? You don't ship great products by phoning it in. There's a perception that your agencies are underperforming. Now, if you're underperforming, and you're not showing up. That is not good stewardship. Now, let me ask, because I understand that HHS has a policy which is allowing people to come back every 2 weeks for 8 hours a day. Now, do any of you have a policy in your agency which is different than this pilot program of only requesting 8 hours in the office every 2 weeks? Ms. O'Connell, yes, no?
We require more than that in the office. Thank you.
Mr. Califf, Dr. Califf.
Yes, we've talked a lot. We have a pilot program which adjusts every individual to the optimal working situation for them to be productive.
Now, so that tells me that it's really up to the individual to decide whether
it's up to the individual, their supervisor, and
so in your laboratories, does every laboratory worker show up every day physically? Because in a laboratory, you got to be there.
Well, Senator Cassidy, we're both doctors. You know, everyone who has a job to do in the laboratory that requires them to be there is there every day, but you also know that when you analyze data.
Yeah, analyze data, but when you got a lab tech, the lab tech has to be there.
Absolutely.
So is the lab tech there every day?
Yes.
And I'm sorry to be insistent, but it's hard to get an answer. Dr. Walensky.
Yeah, our laboratory, the people who need to be in our labs are working in our labs, but I will also say that
are they working full-time, 40 hours a week?
When I have a data need at midnight on a Saturday night, people are working. They're not necessarily in their workplace, but they're working.
I get that, but if it's a lab employee who is only productive if they're in a lab, are they working 40 hours a week?
People who need to be on site in the lab are on site in the lab. People who are deployed to the field, deployed internationally,
I think there's a lot of
working
deployment,
outside the
but you've got 18,000 employees, and I can't believe they're all deployed. You know, I'm going to finish with this. You're asking for more money. And Ms. O'Connell, you suggested that there's tough trade-offs that have to be made, that, by golly, if you don't give us money, something's going to be sacrificed. I suspect you haven't laid off a single person. I also know that you have the ability to monitor their at-home work history as to whether or not they're actually logging on. I'd be interested in seeing that data. But you've got maintenance people who haven't been employed for 2.5 years, and I suspect they've not been laid off. But you're asking for more taxpayer dollars, asking tough choices for that family at home trying to make their balance work, and yet
tôi viết lên đây với tất cả chân thành của lòng tôi trao anh. Ngày nào đã quen nhau vì chung hướng đời mình chót trao nhau nụ cười, và tình yêu đó tôi đem ép trong tim, dù bụi thời gian có làm mờ đi kỷ niệm của hai chúng mình. Tôi cũng không bao giờ quên anh, cho đến hôm nay với nức nở nghẹn ngào mình mềm lòng xa nhau. Còn đâu những đêm anh dìu tôi lối về buồn kể nhau nghe chuyện đời. Tình mình này chết như lá úa thu rơi, đường trần mồ côi tôi lạnh lùng ôm kỷ niệm của hai chúng mình. Ngơ ngác trong đêm trường tôi chứa vơi niềm yêu thương. Nhớ lúc chia phôi cầm tay chưa nói hết bao nhiêu niềm thương của tuổi xuân vừa tròn. Xa nhau mấy người không buồn không nhớ, xót xa cho tình yêu. Nuối tiếc xa xưa anh nói vẫn yêu em nghìn năm, vẫn đợi em trọn đời. Nhưng nay hết rồi, hai người hai lối, lúc đêm buồn không ai. Tôi gói yêu thương xin trao trả ân tình về người tôi yêu mến. Đừng thương tiếc chi anh, chuyện hai chúng mình là giấc mơ trong cuộc đời. Tình mình này chết như lá úa thu rơi, đường trần mồ côi tôi lạnh lùng ôm kỷ niệm của hai chúng mình. Tuy đã xa nhau rồi nhưng không bao giờ quên anh. Cho đến hôm nay với nức nở nghẹn ngào, mình mềm lòng xa nhau. Còn đâu những đêm anh dìu tôi lối về, buồn kể nhau nghe chuyện đời. Tình mình này chết như lá úa thu rơi, đường trần mồ côi tôi lạnh lùng ôm kỷ niệm của hai chúng mình. Ngơ ngác trong đêm trường tôi chứa vơi niềm yêu thương. Nhớ lúc chia phôi cầm tay chưa nói hết bao nhiêu niềm thương của tuổi xuân vừa tròn. Xa nhau mấy người không buồn không nhớ, xót xa cho tình yêu. Nuối tiếc xa xôi, ngày xưa anh nói vẫn yêu em nghìn năm, vẫn đợi em trọn đời. Nhưng nay hết rồi, hai người hai lối, lúc đêm buồn không ai. Tôi gói yêu thương xin trao trả ân tình về người tôi yêu mến. Đừng thương tiếc chi anh, chuyện hai chúng mình là giấc mơ trong cuộc đời. Tình mình này chết như lá úa thu rơi, đường trần mồ côi tôi lạnh lùng ôm kỷ niệm của hai chúng mình. Tuy đã xa nhau rồi nhưng không bao giờ quên anh. Tình mình này chết như lá úa thu rơi, đường trần mồ côi tôi lạnh lùng ôm kỷ niệm của hai chúng mình.